Most people think the key Social Security question is, should I file at 62 or at 70? But after testing 96 different filing strategies, we found that the most common choices can often be the most expensive. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what to look out for and how to avoid a mistake that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars over your retirement. For those of you who are new here, my name is Sean Stevenson. I'm a certified financial planner and wealth associate who's run hundreds, if not thousands, of Social Security filing simulations for clients just like you. Let's walk through 3 key scenarios using a fictional couple's data to show how health, longevity, and benefit cuts all impact your ideal filing age. By the end of this, you'll have a better idea of what to avoid and how to find the right strategy that actually fits your life. Between ages 62 and 70, you don't just have 3 choices, you really have 96 filing choices. That's 96 different months to file, each with a different financial outcome. And most people have no idea how much that choice can impact their retirement plan. And for John and Mary, who are 62 and 60 respectively, getting this wrong could mean losing out on tens of thousands of dollars over their retirement. The bigger issue, most people choose based on what feels safe, not what's actually optimal. John is 62 with a primary insurance amount of $3,500. Now, a primary insurance amount, or PIA, is a monthly Social Security benefit amount that John will receive if he claims his benefits at his full retirement age, or FRA, on acronyms. Now, Mary, John's wife, who is 60, as I mentioned, has a PIA of $2,000, or just over 50% of John's benefit. They've saved consistently, their retirement is well funded, and now they're asking, when should we file for Social Security? Like many couples, they've heard different rules of thumb. File early if you're worried, wait if you can. But they wanted more than just guesswork, which makes sense. So using our modeling software, we explored what happens when each of them files at every month between 62 and 70. The result? We reviewed 96 different filing strategies they could follow and modeled 3 different scenarios within these strategies to help answer the questions based on their unique situation. So let's take a look at that. Going into this, John and Mary felt like they'd done everything right. They saved consistently, they managed their expenses, and they planned carefully, which they did, and it's evident in their balance sheet. So now John was leaning towards filing at age 65, a bit early, but to him it felt safer to collect his benefits sooner rather than waiting till later. Mary had read that claiming earlier would let them enjoy their retirement more while still being healthy. While they were unsure how long they'd live, they kind of just assumed that they'd live around the average, whatever that might be. Like most couples, they weren't thinking about how spousal benefits or maybe future rate cuts to their Social Security benefits could affect their plan. And that's really where a lot of risk lies. Looking at their situation, they had solid savings, decent health, and no debt. So my initial thought was filing at their full retirement age, or their FRA, might be a safe bet. But we tested the variables from longevity to a potential 21% benefits cut. And it became clear that the conventional wisdom just wasn't holding up. In fact, every assumption they had about when they should file shifted as we kind of ran through the numbers. And that's exactly what happens with so many clients. It feels right, doesn't always pay the best. So in our first model, we assume that they both live a long life. John lives to 92 and Mary lives to 95. With these assumptions, filing at 70 for John and 70 for Mary produced the highest lifetime benefit, just under $2 million. The reason our software recommends waiting until age 70 for both of them is that it maximizes their monthly benefit, which is 8% per year from the years they delay from 67 to 70 to be exact. It also recommends this because due to their assets and spending level, John and Mary aren't forced to claim early, meaning they have the assets to live on before their Social Security kicks in. This flexibility allows them to delay until age 70, which maximizes their monthly benefit. So once they do file, their Social Security checks will actually cover more than half of their annual expenses, which is going to significantly reduce the strain on their portfolio and build in longevity for their spending over the course of their retirement. Now, when waiting to file until age 70, every person's first question is, when's the break-even point? And for John and Mary, it would be around 2044, meaning if they live past that date, which we have them doing in this scenario, they'll come out significantly ahead than if they had filed earlier. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly when John and Mary will pass. Otherwise, financial planning would be much easier. We can make sound assumptions and plan based on those assumptions, however. In this case, it would be a healthy longevity for John and Mary. Now, I hear what you might be saying. Regardless of John and Mary's family health history, chances are they're not going to live into their early to mid 90s, and thus they shouldn't wait to file until age 70. So let's test that. What if they don't live quite as long? Here we have them passing 7 years earlier. So John passes at 85 and Mary passes at 88. With this shorter life expectancy, John and Mary's optimal filing strategy slightly changes, but not as much as you might think. With John still waiting until age 70 because he was the primary breadwinner, but Mary now filing earlier at age 68. This results in a total lifetime benefit of $1.42 million, with a break-even point of about 18 years in 2044, which is interesting that the break-even point just so happens to be the exact same as a first scenario. And this is partly due because their retirement timeframe is shortened, but their lifetime benefits are also reduced since they're not living as long. And remember, since John passed away earlier, Mary's going to receive a spousal benefit, which would be her taking over John's benefit at about $87,000 annually in 2049. Now, that's a nominal number, meaning that it's $87,000 in future dollars, not today dollars. So you have to factor in inflation on that. And this highlights one of the most overlooked parts of Social Security planning, coordinating spousal benefits. For couples, this isn't just about one person's break-even point. It's about protecting the survivor with the highest possible benefit for life, especially if their lifespans might be significantly different. Think an older spouse and a younger spouse. Now, let's add in a curveball everyone seems to be worried about, or at least talking about. And that's going to be the Social Security cuts in 2033. This is the year that the Social Security Trust Fund is expected to be depleted unless things are changed between now and then. So we'll keep John and Mary's life expectancy the same, but now their benefits are going to be reduced by 21% across the board in 2033. And here's the surprise. Filing earlier still isn't the better choice. Why? Because the reduced benefit applies no matter when you file, but delaying still gives them more per month. So now their total lifetime benefits do drop to $1.1 million as opposed to the $1.4 million in our second scenario. So just like that, John and Mary would lose out on about $300,000 worth of Social Security income just by one single legislative change. That's why general rules of thumb really no longer work compared to proper financial planning. It's scenarios like this that you deserve to be prepared for and clients want to plan for. This is a type of discussion that lets our clients leave our office feeling comfortable that they're going to be able to spend in retirement regardless of what the markets do, what Congress does, or what life might throw at them. And that's really the end goal of what we're trying to solve for. So what did we learn from John and Mary? And what should they avoid? Based on John and Mary's ages, longevity assumptions, and their projected benefits amounts alone, the optimal filing strategy for them has become clear. And that points to them delaying Social Security essentially as long as they can. However, Social Security doesn't exist in a vacuum like the numbers we looked at today. They're also going to need to weigh in the rest of their retirement plan details, such as different income sources, their spending needs, their portfolio performance over time, different taxes that they might face now or later in retirement, and much more. And that's why we don't stop here when it comes to looking at your Social Security filing age. While this recommendation makes sense on the surface for John and Mary that we just discussed, I'll be releasing a hypothetical plan video soon that layers in all those other additional factors to see if it's going to shift John and Mary's Social Security ideal filing age. This way, you'll be able to see how the numbers interact with a real-world plan. So subscribe if you're not already subscribed so you don't miss that upcoming video. And although today's video might have given you some clarity around Social Security and what it might look like for a couple filing in their mid to late 60s, it doesn't really give you a plan. And that's what this next step is so important. Running your own numbers based on your own unique income, assets, health, and goals, it becomes so important. And that's exactly what we help people do. So if you want to find the most confident path forward for you and or your spouse, click the link in the description. It's a retirement readiness review video that I'll send to you. And all you have to do is answer a couple questions. I think you'll find some value in it. I appreciate you watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.